Like all my predecessors, I can state without hesitation that the fundamental achievement of Dayton has been to keep the peace. I know that every decent citizen of this country recognizes and values that. The job of the High Representative is to ensure compliance with all civilian aspects of the peace agreement, to facilitate the resolution of difficulties arising in connection with the implementation of Dayton, and to coordinate the activities of the organizations and agencies involved in the civilian aspects of the peace settlement. I and my predecessors have done this because, whatever Dayton's flaws may be, it has kept and it will continue to keep the peace. Peace and stability is the base, the starting point, but people rightly want more than just peace. They want to live in a society where individuals have a chance to achieve their personal and public goals through talent and effort. They want this kind of society for themselves and their children. In this regard, the last 10 years have been a disappointment for many citizens in Bosnia and Herzegovina and for the international community as well. Commentators have often pointed to the complexities of the system of government created at Dayton as a primary cause of Bosnia and Herzegovina's stagnation. As Bosnia and Herzegovina moves forward along the path towards integration with the European Union and NATO, I do believe that the Dayton Constitution will at some point need to be amended and the system made more functional. But this is not something that I or anybody else will or can impose. Constitutional changes will come when Bosnia is ready. They will be adopted through the amendment procedure contained in the Constitution, which requires the agreement of all of the three largest ethnic groups in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and no one will be threatened by this. In the meantime, I do not believe it is useful or accurate to blame Dayton for all of the problems in Bosnia and Herzegovina, or to throw up our hands and say that the system cannot work without constitutional change. The important thing is that while change is being discussed, we don't simply put good government and the delivery of much-needed reforms onto the back burner. That's what has just happened for the last decade, which is a tragedy for the country and its people. The priorities of improving schools, extending medical care, building houses, creating jobs, fighting corruption, none of these require changes to the Constitution. All this points to the reality that many BiH political leaders are increasingly out of touch with the people of this country. Clearly this cannot go on, and we must once again deliver the reforms that will address the day-to-day challenges citizens face. In the midst of this political standstill of the last decade, we have still managed to take a number of notable steps forward. We have worked with the BiH institutions to sustain the process of refugee return. We have amended the BiH constitution for the first time and helped to fully integrate the governance of Brčko in the country's constitutional framework. We have helped to facilitate travel by BiH citizens to the Schengen area. In June, the Stabilization and Association Agreement between Bosnia and Herzegovina and the European Union came into force. Several of the key objectives laid down by the Peace Implementation Council Steering Board in February 2008 have been reached, though work still has to be done. And one of the two Steering Board conditions, the Stabilization and Association Agreement, has been met. The remaining condition is that a positive assessment of the political situation in Bosnia and Herzegovina based on full compliance with the Dayton Peace Agreement can be made. In an era where party leaders question the sovereignty of the country, challenge Dayton and challenge the authority of the High Representative, it's hard to see how this assessment can be made. The growing poverty and painfully slow progress on the European road represent difficult problems that require urgent resolution, and those solutions can only come with a new approach to the problem itself. Now is the time to take creative and brave steps. I said those words when I addressed the members of the BiH Parliamentary Assembly for the first time 6.5 years ago. They are unfortunately as valid today as they were then. I believe in Bosnia and Herzegovina, and I believe in its people's ability to overcome the tragedy of war and to once again come together to build a better future for current and future generations. I also believe we have the constitutional and political machinery all ready to move beyond the present stalemate if there is political leadership and political will. Those leaders need to come forward now, turn decisively to the future, and urgently deliver what is necessary to open up the opportunities for a better life within the framework of the EU family that the ordinary people of this country so clearly deserve.